You're listening to the Becoming ZESTY podcast. We are Megan and Dr. Alex, and we're so happy that you're here.
We are passionate about accelerated transformation, yours, ours, and the collective.
Personal and professional for coaches, practitioners, and leaders of all kinds.
Between the two of us, we seem to have done things the painful way. So let our pitfalls become your stepping stones. We are not afraid to share our raw and vulnerable truths in order to help you transform your thinking, your body, your heart, and your soul.
Combining over 15 years of functional medicine with brain-based habit change to lead you to create the life of your dreams, supporting yourself through all four bodies, physical, mental, emotional, and energetic, every step of the way.
We are transformation accelerators, wholeness cultivators, empowerment experts, speakers, authors, mentors, and change makers for a more loving world. By combining Dr. Alex's MD experiences
with Megan's mindset magic, we've helped hundreds of thousands of people transform their lives, and we can help you too. If you're ready to accelerate your transformation and have so much fun doing it, then stick around. We've got you covered. Quick reminder, this information is not meant to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your doctor, not this doctor, before making changes. Now let's get into today's episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Becoming ZESTY podcast. This is Dr. Alex here with you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hopefully you're having a great day or night, no matter where you are in the world. We're so glad that you're here. Today we're going to be talking about fear. We're going to be talking about kids. And of course, big kids, which is adults. I also wanted to invite you to our upcoming training, 3 crucial coaching skills you should have learned in training, aka learning to trust yourself as a powerful practitioner. So whatever it is that you do in the world that makes an impact, where you are working to create a ripple effect of positivity and love here on the planet, we are here to help facilitate change, right? How do leaders help themselves change faster into the identity they most want to be and what they feel like they are here for their purpose, and then to take that into the world and to expand it and to grow it and to multiply it into a ripple effect that really makes a difference for all of us. So check that out. The link is going to be in the show notes. It is on Tuesday, March 19th at 4 p.m. Pacific time and 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's 6 for us in Texas. All right. So what are we talking about today? One of the things that I was talking about recently with a good friend of mine was the interplay between parenting and self-development. And one of the things that ended up coming up from that conversation was really, really interesting. And we were noting how often we as parents and people with kids, or even like people who lead others or are authority figures in some capacity, right? How often we want people to do like be held to a certain standard, and then we don't want to do the thing. Right? And one of the ways that it looks like, and so often for little humans and fear, is when kids are like, oh, I'm struggling to do something. I'm struggling to learn a new skill. I am in the fear of this is new and unfamiliar to me, and I'm feeling my own insecurities, where kids will be like, I can't do this, or I don't know if I can do this, or this is too hard, right? And so often the reflex response of parents and of adults is, oh, of course you can, right? Like, or don't say that, or oh, you should believe in yourself, and all these things. And it's sort of like delivered as a lecture. And then to zoom out, there's so many times where like just working with humans, you know, we'll be on calls and we're talking about people will be interested in changing their life and up leveling and starting a new career and making an impact in the world. And so often I'll be like, yeah, no, I do mean that I want to do those things, but I'm not going to take the next step. Like, I can't do it. Like, I'm not going to, now's not the time. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the power. I don't have the, agreement of my partner. I don't have the energy. I don't have my health in line. I don't have the certifications or training, and I can't afford getting them. It ends up essentially being the exact same thing, right? And how often it is that, we will see it in another, but then sort of believe our own reasons for the fear, right? And it's really, even though that can be like, whoa, that stinks, like it's not something that when I thought about it, I was like, that is true. We want to believe in everybody else, right? We're like, yeah, no, you can totally do it. But when it comes to us, so often we don't necessarily want to role model that, right? Like we're like, yeah, you can do it. Pause. and not me. So there's a self-awareness zinger kind of in there, depending on what our past is and what our history is, and maybe not for you, and that's cool too. But the flip side of that is when we can actually take that self-awareness and then begin to apply it, it looks like a much more collaborative, honest, authentic process. Because then, instead of kids being like, this is hard, I can't do it, and then being met with, let's do the corollaries, or like in some ways, even though we all mean well when we do it, it's sort of a denial of the actual feelings that are being felt underneath. Like the kids are often like, they'll try it, they'll do it or whatever, sometimes not, but they're not necessarily looking to get out of it. It's more just acknowledgement of this is what it is. And so when we hit them hard with, oh no, don't say that, you can totally do it, it can sometimes feel like a little bit of a shutdown of the feelings, or an invalidation of the fear. And of course, in some ways, we are trying to do that. We're like, the fear's not the important part. It's the doing it and trying it, and maybe you'll have fun, right? Or whatever. But this is where we can all work together in service. So the same way it's like your fears of whatever next step that you're scared to take are valid, and you still want to get yourself over that hump and actually do the thing in the world, right? Part of that process can be started by having honest conversations with people around us. Like, hey, I feel, mom feels fear too. This is what it looks like in my big world. Your little world is here, and here's my corollary. Here are things that I do too. And when we put our parenting hat or a coaching hat on, of course, people always start being like creative, and they're like, oh, I do this, and this is a good idea, and whatever, right? But then as we're talking, we can be like, I'm actually talking to me. Like, this is my parenting. This is my coaching. This is how I can lead myself past my own fears and limitations, because and I'm talking to people who are at the heart of it more committed to helping the world than the fears, right? Like, at the end of the day, we all got to make a decision on which side we're on. And so in that way, it's when we have those conversations, when we allow fear to exist and then resource it, and to say, what do I need to acknowledge that and still keep moving forward? What does support look like? What does reassurance look like? What does safety look like? What does protection look like? Who's my crew? Who are my people that I debrief with? Or how do I handle my emotional processing around this, right? All of those better questions come out of conversations that are had, that are rooted in being a little more authentic about what's actually going on, and how we're all often having a similar experience, whether we're a kid or an adult. so much of life is the same stuff, just different levels, right? And so one way to flip it around is to share and apply together, right? If you have kids, or if you are around kids, or you lead people, this can be a collaborative process of, how can I assist you? How can I show you my inner world while role modeling what I'm doing, and the resources that I have that you may not, right? As adults, we can share the things that we already know. You might have already listened to this podcast and learned parasympathetic tools, right? So right away we can say, oh, right, am I personally applying those daily? Am I encouraging my central nervous system to be in that rest and digest, heal and learn, recover, be creative, passionate, thriving, right? Am I applying those things when I feel the fear and the limitations in myself as I grow and expand, which of course you're going to bump into the outer boundaries of where you feel comfortable and where your expansion currently is. And the game is to expand anyways past that, right? So beginning to apply those tools so often, then we remember that they're watching us. And so as we begin to demonstrate resourcing our own fear and limitation, feelings of limitations, and beginning to apply things like parasympathetic, or even here's how I'm going to narrate my mental gremlins, right? We have episodes about that here on Becoming Zesty. How do I talk back to the habitual negative thoughts I may have picked up over life, and how do I want to interact with them? How do I, in my moments of power, plan for those times and create safety nets for myself? Ooh, when I hear myself think that, I know I have a note on my phone that reminds me, oh, right, this is what we think of that thought. This is what transpired, and this is what we decided when we were feeling good, when we were feeling powerful, when we were in our decision-making capacities. And as that begins to stack, right, like those conversations advance, because when you're doing this stuff, then people talk about it. And when we all talk about it, then feedback happens. And when you get feedback on the things you're applying, then you get better at applying them and you diversify. So this conversation can go from, oh crap, I've been doing that and I feel bad about it, to, oh my gosh, day to day I get to live a life where there's feedback and I get to advance all of us along this path, and I feel really proud of that. That's a huge shift in perspective that we can have here, right? But think about that from every other perspective, like every other conversation, every other chance of role modeling, every other chance to show what abundance looks like, what love looks like, what creativity looks like, what passion looks like, what safety looks like. It's powerful stuff. So I encourage you to have those conversations first with yourself. Sometimes we just need to take a beat to admit something to ourselves and sit with that, and tiptoe into bringing more of that authenticity, more of that honesty to our interactions in the world, and using the mirror that the world is to begin to reflect back to us. Where can we go faster in this change thing? Where can we make a bigger ripple effect for ourselves? And of course, then we know it's for others too. All of those questions are answered here. I am sending you lots of love. Thank you for joining us on the Becoming Zesty podcast. We'd love to see you next Tuesday. Sending you lots of love. Bye.
Thanks for coming to hang out with us on the podcast. It is our goal to lead others through accelerated transformation that takes all parts of ourselves into account. And we need your help. We need your help to get the word out. At almost 2 million downloads and quickly heading to 3, we know that as this podcast grows, we're going to be able to reach more and more people and help them learn how all 4 bodies, physical, mental, emotional, and energetic, work so they feel empowered to be, do, and have whatever they want in life.
If you find this podcast helpful, please take a moment to text 5 friends you think might benefit and leave us a review. It means so much to share this work that has transformed our lives with others. We appreciate your help so much and can't wait to see you next time.